Once upon a time, in a bustling ant colony, there lived a tiny ant named Andy. Andy wasn't the biggest or the strongest ant, but he was known for his clever ideas and his big heart. He loved exploring the world outside the colony and learning new things about the forest where they lived. One sunny day, while Andy was out collecting food, he overheard a worrying conversation between two birds. They were discussing a terrible storm that was on its way. The storm was so fierce that it could flood the ant colony. Andy knew he had to act fast. He scurried back to the colony as quickly as his little legs could carry him. He found the queen ant and the council gathered in the main chamber, discussing their plans for the day.
Your Majesty,
Andy panted.
I have urgent news. There's a huge storm coming, and it could flood our home. We need to move to higher ground.
The queen ant looked concerned, but also a bit skeptical.
Are you sure, Andy? We've lived here for many seasons, and we've never had to move.
I'm certain. Your Majesty,
Andy insisted.
I heard it from the birds. We must act now.
The queen ant trusted Andy's judgment and called for an emergency meeting. All the ants gathered, and Andy explained the situation. Some ants were frightened, while others were doubtful. One of the older ants, General Antony, stepped forward.
We need a plan, and we need a leader who knows the way to safer ground. Andy, you've been our best explorer. Will you lead us?
Andy felt a mix of fear and pride. He took a deep breath and nodded.
Yes, I'll lead us.
The ants quickly gathered their essentials, food, larvae, and anything they could carry. Andy knew a path that led to a large, sturdy tree on a hill. It would be a safe place to wait out the storm. The journey was long and challenging. The ants had to cross rivers, navigate through thick grass, and avoid predators. At one point, they reached a fast-flowing stream that seemed impossible to cross. Andy had an idea.
We can use the leaves as boats,
he suggested. The ants worked together, gathering leaves and vines to create makeshift rafts. Carefully, they floated across the stream, with Andy guiding them from the front. As they continued, the sky grew darker and the wind began to howl. Rain started to pour. But the ants pressed on, trusting Andy's leadership. Finally, they reached the hill and climbed to the safety of the large tree. They built a temporary nest among its roots and sheltered there as the storm raged on. For 3 days, the storm pounded the forest, but the ants remained safe and dry. Andy kept their spirits high by telling stories and organizing games for the younger ants. When the storm finally passed, the forest was unrecognizable. The ant colony's old home was flooded, and many of the paths they used were washed away. But the ants were safe. Thanks to Andy's quick thinking and brave leadership. The queen ant called a special ceremony to honor Andy.
For your bravery and wisdom, we name you Andy the Brave. You have saved our colony, and we are forever grateful.
The ants cheered, and Andy felt a warm glow of pride. He had proven that even the smallest ant could make a big difference. From that day on, Andy continued to explore and protect his colony, always ready to lead them to safety if danger arose. And whenever a storm threatened, the ants knew they could count on Andy the Brave to guide them through. And so, the ant colony thrived in their new home, always remembering the bravery of the little ant who led them to safety.